Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you watched my new YouTuber tag, thank you so much for all the love and support. I truly appreciate it. What I wanted was your support and your encouragement, and you gave me just that. I am super grateful. But if you're seeing me for the very first time, you are welcome. I'm super pumped to have you here. My name is Nguper Afiemo. I am a teacher based in Abuja, Nigeria. On this channel, we're going to be talking a lot about education in Nigeria, teaching in Nigeria, parenting from a teacher's perspective, and all things childhood education. This is because I've been privileged to work in the private sector of education in my country for close to 15 years. Today, I'm going to be telling you the whole story about how I ended up being a teacher. Somebody once asked me, how did you end up being a teacher? If you would like to find out how I ended up in this profession, then please keep on watching. Now, before I dive into the video, please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment and share this video. That's the only way I'm going to grow, and that's the only way you're going to encourage me. So please do that right now before we continue. Okay, so how did I end up becoming a teacher? Listen, I didn't apply to study to become a teacher, okay? I don't know how that sounds, but I never got up to say, okay, I want to become a. I had never ever dreamt of becoming a teacher. It's a long story, about how things happened. I didn't discover myself early in life. I depended heavily on my parents making decisions for me for the greater part of my childhood and even into my teenage years. And so that kind of affected me. I really didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know my strengths. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. But I just always flowed with whatever my parents chose for me. When I finished secondary school, I failed. I didn't do well in my secondary school final exams, and I had to retake them. It drew me back a bit. And then when I applied into the university, I applied to study economics. And now thinking about it, I'm just wondering what I was thinking. I didn't even know what economics was all about. I just went in and applied for it. And I didn't get picked for economics. Instead, my school offered me pre-primary and primary education. Listen, for the life of me, I had never heard of a course like that. I was shattered, I was broken, I was humiliated, I was sad, every negative emotion that you can think about is what I felt when I heard that was the course that I was given. I was super broken. I didn't even, in fact, it was not in the cards for me to accept the offer. The only thing that came to my head was I was going to retake JAM and start all over again to apply for another course, but because I just couldn't imagine studying a course like that, because I didn't even have the first clue about that. So before that time, I noticed that my mom had been gaining some interest in courses around education. So she had mentioned more than once that she wouldn't mind taking a course in education herself, so that she could maybe start a school or something, just gain some experience around um, a course in education. But I didn't really care about it. She was the one who kind of talked me into accepting the course, accepting the offer, and then I started. It wasn't easy. I had zero interest in everything that was going on in my class. I had zero interest. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to partake in the lectures. I just wasn't interested. So I'm not going to go bore you with all the details of how I struggled through the course, but I managed to finish, and Of course, because I didn't pay too much attention to the content of the course, I didn't do too well at the end of the day, and I just managed to graduate. Knowing my intellectual capability, I think that I should have done a lot better if I had put my mind to it, but I didn't. I managed to graduate, and I was happy. When people say that in Nigeria, whatever you study doesn't matter because all you need is a degree. You can get into any sector you want anyway. I held on to that and I said, okay, my parents wanted me to get a degree. I've gotten the degree. This NYSC is going to be my chance to branch out into whatever I find to do. And I was going for NYSC with the hope that, yes, maybe I'm going to start serving in one bank, or I'm going to serve in one parastatal or something, something. But as it happened, I realized that it wasn't that easy. When I was on camp, everybody was hustling for places that they were going to um, do their primary assignments in, and I didn't even know where to start from. I was always like, I just put my ears to the ground. I was listening to what people were saying around the camp and all that. While I was still trying to figure things out, I got a call. I got a call from a longtime friend of mine back home from Makodi. His name is Jeremy. Bless his soul. We lost him about over a year ago now, and we still haven't gotten over it. Jeremy called me and he used to call me Sandra. That's my, other name. He said, Sandra, where are you? I said, I'm on camp. He was like, would you like to serve in a school? I said, no. Why would I want to serve in a school? Of course not. I'm looking for somewhere else to do my NYSC. He said, what if I told you that this school is a different kind of school? Like, it's a really nice and janded school. That's how he put it. I said, hey, janded, how do you mean janded? He said, oh, there are expatriates. There are, I said, but it's still a school now. I still have to teach no matter what. He was like, yes, but I think you're going to enjoy it and I think you're going to thrive here. I said, okay, since I don't have any other options right now, let me say yes to you. And Jeremy went to every length that he could. He pulled all the stops. He went to the school management. He had a good relationship with them. He spoke to them and they arranged an interview for me. I found a way to get out of the camp and I went, did the interview. They were like, how many people on the panel? That was my first time of attending an interview like that. Young, small girl. I think I was about 22 then. So I did it and I think I impressed them and they accepted to have me on board. But I went back to camp and they brought the letter to camp to request for me to be posted to the school. And that's what happened when I got posted there. Now, when I got into that school, it was a world of its own. Like, I hadn't seen education, I hadn't seen school like that before. The school was really pretty, it was beautiful. Indeed, there were very qualified teachers around the place, people who knew what they were doing. I saw, really modern ways of teaching, very interesting ways. I saw teaching in a whole new light. I saw how children got transformed before my very eyes. Children who came in struggling, in one area or the other. I saw the way learning was broken down for children, and I saw that indeed this is in a different side to things. Like, it really showed me how much children on the other side were missing out on. And there I began to have a rethink. So naturally, inside of me, I'm the kind of person who puts in their best in everything they do. And that's what happened. I put in my best. I started to give in 100% to the work, and I did. I performed all my duties excellently. I was treated as a trainee there, so they kept moving me from class to class. So I was gaining experience from almost every um, class. So I was spending like 1 week or 2 weeks in different classes. Sometimes they just put me in classes where they needed help, but I was learning. And as I was doing it, I was journaling my way through the whole thing. I was writing stuff down, I was asking questions, I was very hands on. I was the best that I could be. And after my NYSC, there was no question about it. Nobody even, had any purpose. Thank God I listened. Thank God I stopped at some point to listen. Thank God I answered Jeremy. Thank God I didn't just ignore him that day. Thank God I I followed it through and gave him a listening ear, accepted the offer, and threw myself into the work. So counter opinions when it came to should we retain her or not. And so I was retained, and that's how I got my first job. And I continued to work there and learn a lot. And I spent about 3 years in that school soaking in all that I could soak in. And then one thing happened, one thing or the other happened, and then I moved to the next school. But that's how my journey into being a qualified teacher started. So I'm not only a qualified teacher, I'm actually a practicing teacher. Okay, so it's been a long journey. I started, as a student, then I did my NYSC in a school, then I became a teaching assistant for some years, then I became a class teacher, and the journey has continued since then. So that's how I found my way in education. Somewhere along the line, I decided that it still wasn't for me and I wanted to run away. I actually quit my job and I left. And it wasn't long before I started having sleepless nights and I found myself back in the education space again. And since then, I haven't thought of running away. I've not thought of going anywhere. I know now that this is my purpose. This is my assignment. This is where I'm supposed to be. That is why even as I'm starting a YouTube channel, it still has to be centered around education. It is where God has placed me to be. So I just want to ask you, where is that place you've been running from that keeps calling your name? I think that you need to just calm all the way down, listen, and answer that call, because that might be what you're in this world to do. Don't spend too much time running away. Thank God I didn't spend too much time running away from my search yourself. If there is something that keeps on calling you, if there's a particular line of work that keeps on, attracting you, somehow you keep being led back to that place, it might be that that's where you're supposed to be. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Please leave your comments below if you can relate to any aspect of this story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I'll see you next time with another video. Bye-bye.